Hello, Kristina and Kęstutis. Welcome to the Builder's Mind podcast.
Hello.
It's so exciting to have this episode because I have never had two guests. So it will be very fun for me to experience how it goes with two. So thanks a lot for joining me. And to start the conversation, I would like to ask, as we see that education is one of the areas among coding, healthcare, sales, customer support, which are being highly impacted by AI. And I think now we see that, lots of schools, universities, students are also trying to kind of somehow use it in their daily life. So my question is that are the schools and universities are really welcoming AI? And are they actually, ready to buy these AI tools for their usage?
Kristina?
I would say it depends. There is a lot of demand already because everyone start to use AI tools in their daily life for productivity. So at work is no different. So some universities, some schools in our case, they are already ready to find out how AI can help them. Is it for planning? Is it for lesson delivery? Is it for assessment? For some tasks, they find it already that it's very useful. For some others, they are a little bit afraid of data security problems, of bias in AI. Is it fair and inclusive with everyone in my classroom? So many schools already ask the right questions. On the other hand, this is whatever is now created, it's an innovation in any ways, right? So with innovation, we know that sometimes we need more time, that it would be adapted, that it would become a daily tool for our activities. So I would say some schools are still a little bit skeptical, or a little bit, we want to see if others are using, if others see benefit, if others are happy with it, and then we will follow. Because everyone starts to understand that in any ways, in 2, 3, 5 years time, we will use more and more AI. So it
Right.
depends.
Also, I heard that there is a dilemma between, kind of the buyers is that, should they go for, very specific tools like EditAI, or should they go, after ChatGPT or kind of like this general purpose tools or chatbots that actually does everything. So how do you kind of, communicate, which one is better for the schools when you're talking with them?
We don't. I don't know, Kęstutis, how do you see that? We don't. I mean, those who are using ChatGPT, and a lot of people are using ChatGPT, okay, or Magic School or other tools, then we just show a simple demo, what we have, how it can be used in the classroom. They evaluate themselves, how it benefit them better. EditAI functionalities that are totally different from what ChatGPT or others can provide. So we don't try to convince. People see themselves how it can benefit better.
Okay, great. So I think it would be nice to kind of know a bit of your own personal journey. So how did you decide to, jump into the EdTech space you both? And yeah, kind of how has it been, the journey so far?
The story is very long. We have been in management consulting. I've been for 20 years. This is how we met with most of our team. This is how we met with Kristina. I think that was also around 20 years ago. Then our journey is sort of separated a bit. I stayed in Lithuania, stayed in management consulting for different firms. Part of my projects was in education. I guess from 30 to 50% of all the portfolio that I've been in the projects over the last 20 years was somehow related to education, whether it was with universities, with general education, with schools, with municipalities, ministries, salary policies, KPI development, study strategies, like in different angles. This helped me to understand maybe the sector better, understand things that are sometimes not spoken loudly, maybe understand different sides of a story. Not only the society, the ministry, but also the teachers, the parents, the kids. And in the last few years, we had quite many projects with schools, and we utilized that time, driving to the school and coming back, with the reflection between us. And I guess that led us to some creative ideas. What else could we do, to make a rather bigger structural change and not just exchanging hours into temporary help. I would say that was the beginning. There was a long prerequisite, that's participation in education, and some momentum, which we had enough time to spend together and to actually visit schools. And this came to, sort of lots of ideas, what could be done, how it could be done. And here we go, we sort of dared to risk. It was a bit scary in the beginning, but we started, okay, let's do it. Let's do something step by step. And this led us to where we are now today.
Maybe kind of like double down like on the scary part. So can you explain like what was the scary point?
Everybody said that you will not succeed. What do? Teachers need different things. The technology is changing. There are so many products, and this is like the worst category for any VC, and especially in K-12. So this is not in the industry like education, like the worst in their eyes. And the K-12 is the worst of the worst. So no, everybody was skeptical, but since education is for everyone, I believe not only business, it's not only the professional activity where you devote yourself, it's something behind it, something bigger than yourself, bigger than your thoughts, than your company. It's something, that actually builds the society. And I guess that is very strong driving force to do something, and to not to lose hope on the go. And we did not jump to very big things straight, sort of. We invest 2 years and then see what happens. I guess that was a step-by-step journey where we had a chance to validate every step. We move somewhere, we validate whether we are on track. If we get that successful validation, we move to another step. And, at every step, when you receive a positive signs from people that they believe, that gives you energy, to move to another step.
And Kristina, how did you overcome your fear of, EdTech and all the negative, feedback that you heard from others not doing this?
I would say I didn't feel that fear. It would be too brave to see that I overcome something that I didn't have. It's more like Kęstutis was coaching and he knew the cycles of the sales, the long ones. We knew already from the start we have to be patient. From management consulting part, we knew very well that the market is accepting you if you really talk their language. You cannot just jump in and the first day start EdTech. The market will not accept you. You don't talk their language. So I guess this preparational work and the huge experience of Kęstutis made a good background, for us to succeed in EdTech. But my story in EdTech was not so direct as in Kęstutis' ways. I'm in education, I would say, for the last 4 or 5 years. I started from management consulting, but actually when I went to energy sector for 5 years to really infrastructure projects. So it's very, very different. And when I traveled to Poland to live there for 3 years, went to Switzerland, 3 years there. So I think this like global journey, and with time when I have kids myself, made the clear future path where I see the value, to commit my time, even if you don't see the first millions in the account from the day one that DC and others we were telling. I think we were prepared for that and we knew that. So it comes probably with age and maturity and some forward thinking, what we expect to have and how fast we expect to have.
Yeah. I think that's like something like really nice, because sometimes like founders are like rushing in like in terms of growth and kind of like doing everything to grow fast, but then they burn out on kind of like in the middle of the journey because they have built some imaginary expectations and kind of because the kind of like the reality is super different, and it really takes some time, especially for EdTech, also from a bit of my experience, because it's like very slow process of sales, and there's only 2 times to sell or kind of buy kind of like things for schools. But just on the management side, that like you both work in management consulting, were there some stuff that you unlearned when you're building this startup? Because I heard that there are some, things about management consulting, but when you come to become a founder, it's a bit different world and you have to kind of do things.
That's a very good question. I guess we were lucky to start a consulting firm in 2020 with the main purpose not to become, I don't know, world number one consulting firm, but we were building consulting firm with the purpose to become a vehicle to fund the spin-offs. So our consulting projects and revenues all together helps us sort of to finance our own ideas, especially in the very immature stages. So EditAI was not the first spin-off. It was actually the third one in our consulting journey. The first one, we started with the selling Excel sheets, and that was quite impressively successful. Funny to say, but the return on investment on that tool, when you realize that if you suddenly cross the border of your small country and you become, there is a demand for your product elsewhere, the sky is the limit, like really. So that was on a small scale with big learning and know-how. Then we had with the team, we had another investment of our own that was sort of, I don't know, the research tool that we were building. And that was an expensive lesson that we had. We invested our own money. We had received one grant, but grant helped us a little bit for that. But the main lesson that we have learned is that you cannot build the product in-house and then expect clients to like it. So the faster you come to your client and ask whether they see exactly, and you are open to listen, probably that is the only way to manage the risk of underestimating what actually client wants and what the client likes. So EditAI was already built on those lessons and mistakes that we had before in our consulting practice, because we didn't spin off like a separate companies. We're building products inside. So that was not the first time. And with EditAI, we immediately drafted the output. We were not building a technology. We drafted by hand the output of what the system should deliver, like in hand. That took us a few months to draft it. And with the output, we went to the schools and say, hey, this is the result the system will provide. How do you like it? And we were not talking about the technology, how it will be, how it will do it. We say the system, this is the system. Imagine this is a system output. How do you like it? And we started to receive a feedback from the output prior to hiring anyone and prior to actually starting a company. Once we received the feedback, then we started, okay, since we have a product that actually client needs and wants, how can we scale it so that the client has unlimited number of these type of outputs with the help of technology? So the second phase was a bit easier because we knew that the output is already accepted by the client and they are willing to use it in their daily life. Our exercise was how to build the technology that enables to prepare them automatically and very quickly. This is from a mistake. And every quarter we iterate with a new version of EditAI. And I would say we spent a number of hours in schools running for the teacher feedback.
Okay, and just kind of like out of curiosity, how many schools did you pitch the output, in the first stage, and how did you filter, this actual commitment that they really like it and will pay for it, and also some just nice commitment because they already know you, so like they don't want to say something, to upset you. So
No, we went to first 15 or 20 schools just to say, hey, this could be the output. How do you like it? We do not even ask like whether you will buy it or not. We asked for the honest feedback, like whether you would use it, if that becomes, I don't know, for free, for example. Would it be like the essence of the need what teachers need? This was not a feedback, of to commit to some investment or to procurement. No, we went to straight feedback. You like it or not?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe, like, Kristina, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think in education, there are a lot of people who are very frank, very open, and they will say, look, you don't know education, you don't understand us. We will tell you immediately. There would be some in the room who would tell you that your output, it's not good at all and you don't get us. So when we didn't have this, if there were some reservations, some were still thinking, but it will be maybe pricey. And, at schools, we don't have big budgets. So there were maybe some reservations in their faces because we know it leads to money one day. but not about the feedback, what we would get with it, the output itself. And I think what was very, very successful in our case is that the same day we released the version that could be used by clients, like making sure that they can already make the output themselves. The same day we kind of had already the contracts with schools. So you immediately can start, from bootstrapping. And I think it was a success that came from previous lessons because it was very nice day and moment for all the team that look, we brought to life something useful that schools are really liking and willing to try. It is an innovation. It is maybe scary for them, but look, we bought it.
That's super exciting.
Maybe some prerequisite elements that are important now globally in education. You started with the question about AI in general. I believe education now is a little bit in shock therapy. Something happened and now everybody tries to figure out what to do with it. It's scary, dangerous from one part. Data protection is important, security is important, but at the same time, it provides enormous opportunities, and not only maybe limited in a way how we see education, but maybe it opens new opportunities to redefine education as it is. For example, we had very interesting discussion with our colleague a few weeks ago. Remember how education used to be like 1,000 years ago?
I can assume that.
It's one-on-one. It's one-on-one. You either have your parent teaching you some, habits and values and maybe some craftsmanship, or you are from very wealthy family which can afford the private teacher, like philosopher and so on. And former kings actually were taught one-on-one, by individual teachers. Then what happened is, suddenly society faced a challenge that it was beneficial to actually scale education because everybody would benefit if everybody is more skilled and qualified. So the system was created and the scale was from 1-to-1 to 1-to-25 because that was the optimal. You have the room, you have one teacher, and you have like a certain number of students silent sitting, and receiving that knowledge. So that was the model which was the only possible that time. That was 400 years ago. Started, bit by bit. 200 years ago, it was already flourishing, and now we have more or less, everywhere the same standard model. But it was based on physical limitation of factor. One factor was that for one teacher, it is impossible to teach more than 25 students. It's just physically impossible. I mean, the teaching effectiveness and effect and the value, starts to decrease if you increase the number of students in the current model. The infrastructure, same, the focus of students, the age groups, and so on and so forth. Now, more and more schools start to discuss whether AI opened a new window of opportunity of scaling 1-to-100. It's no longer 1-to-25 because that was the limiting factor. The technology was a limiting factor. And now the more and more discussions among schools are happening. What to do when we cannot find enough teachers, and what to do when not enough qualified teachers are willing to come, especially to rural areas. That is not because they are bad people, it's just the market situation is so that it's harder for schools to actually attract great teachers. The question is how to ensure, the continuity with the quality and also utilize the technology. And maybe there is a window of additional scale when the society grew from 1-to-1 to 1-to-25. Maybe it's a moment now to grow from 1-to-25 to 1-to-100. Just an idea. Currently, everyone in education is trying to use different AI things, just trying to, understand what it is and what we can do, trying everything out, risking and repeating, but with the current model only. We 1-to-25. I mean, the universities are not considering, let's change our business model, or the schools. They are now using it, the same business model, just with the new technology. But I believe the current situation actually helps to scale to different level in general globally, what AI in general can do for the society, and what positive change it would make. And EditAI, we also see our long-term perspective, maybe 10 years from now. We had a discussion in the team that we would like to become a technology like enabling factor with a new level of scaling. That means we need to adapt to the current process. We need to be among teachers, to have a support. We need to help them to adopt the system. And then more and more they will trust the system, more and more they will be able to scale the process in general. So this is our journey. I mean, we would like to be the technology that changes education. It's not like to change everyday work, but like to change and to reshape education in general.
Yeah. Actually, kind of what you were explaining is somehow my story, because originally from Afghanistan, and when I started at school, we were not 100 people, but we were 70 students in one classroom with one teacher. And we have 30 minutes per subject. How even, like, there's even not 1 minute per student, if you split 70. Actually, yeah, so I really see how it is possible now, just like to have, this amount of people with one student, because back there, we couldn't like really get good feedback. And if you had money, so you would of course go to private school, like kind of like tutor or like later on, but the whole system is really not functioning. I think it's the same now. Maybe okay, not in the West, in the like European countries, but if we see kind of like the rest of the world, Asia or Africa, there is still schools which are actually having one teacher and then hundreds of students.
Yeah. In Africa, it's 250 in some cases, but the question is of equality. The stability is there, but the quality probably is rather poor because it is stuck in a current process. And those more rich and more wealthy countries can afford to have that ratio 1:25 or 1:20. And that is the luxury, we have, because they have an attention that current process may provide. So let's imagine ourselves how to create globally the solution and the technology that is loved by teachers, but actually enables the quality in a ratio 1:100. The different level of quality that used to be only for the privileged and maybe for the wealthy countries only, how to develop a technology which enables quality education for everyone, with additional attention. And I believe this is the window. We do not have a solution yet, but I believe this is a journey that we will go. Technology, hypothetically, is enabling that today. It is an enabler, worth to explore.
Yeah, that's actually kind of true, because when I talk with the students and the teachers, they like both sides are feeling so kind of confident and like they don't have any fear of learning because learning became so easy. So if as a student, you can ask AI and then you can learn it quickly, but also as a teacher, you can prepare much better now, with AI. So you're more confident in what content you're giving to the students. So it's somehow, kind of overcome, like everyone is overcoming the fear of learning. So it's just like, one click or one question away from learning something. And this is, kind of quite exciting. So like the users are the teachers and then they kind of build the output for the students.
Yeah.
Okay. And the schools
we believe in the value of teacher. We believe a teacher is the main asset in a school. The question is how you can enable them to do bigger and greater things on a larger scale. And there are many EdTech solutions that openly say we will no longer need teachers and, there will be a replacement for teachers. We never say so because we believe that the teacher is the main person who actually see the kid, and see the habits, the interests, the emotions, and so on, and can provide this emotional trust and create that emotional bridge with the student. But teacher needs support and technology, to do their job better.
Yeah, right. Okay, Kristina?
So I'm sharing my screen. As you may see, we have already different languages of the platform, up to 15, almost 20 different languages. And in every country where we act, where we enter the market, we have already the educational program into it. Because those are two prerequisites for schools, for teachers that are very important, the language and curriculum. And then the teacher comes to the platform, we immediately can create the lesson content just in one window. And in the next one, I will show you what we get as an output. So here we see UK curriculum. We can choose which year we will have in the classroom, because according that we will have all the subjects that are taught according the national system educational. And here I can easily pick my subject and see all the topics that I have to teach in the classroom through the year. And I can choose which one I want to bring in the classroom that week or next week for which lesson I'm preparing. And then I can choose it. And also what is we see in all the markets is very interesting and important is that every system seeks as much interdisciplinarity as possible, because everyone knows and feels that when we prepare children for later, like for work, they will see all the things interdisciplinary. They will have to solve all the problems that connects also mathematics and physics and design and IT and other subjects. So in this platform, it's very easy already at the school to do the interdisciplinary projects, lessons, and we can connect everything with either computing or other languages like French, or even let EditAI to pick us the best. And if I want, I can also immediately see the program what other teachers are going through the year, and I can choose something specifically, or I just can leave it to choose by the system. And the another thing, the project idea that is important, it brings more relevance in education system, because sometimes the educational program is one thing, and real life that children see on TV, in family, in the street is another thing. For example, if the Etna volcano just erupted, the children are already motivated. They are talking about it in the classroom, but during the physics, biology, or geography, we don't cover it. We are just going through all the topics that are in the program. And this platform just let this integration with real life to be very easy to make for the teachers. So here I can bring my own idea, I can write it in, I can copy paste here the full paragraph from interesting article, from example from NATO summit, or anything else. Or I can choose very interesting topic from the article library that we set up our team ourselves. And those articles come from science, from healthcare, from social networks, from AI, all different interesting topics. And I can just quickly choose one, for example, something about the space, check the resource, see if I like it, and then come back and generate an interesting lesson.
And Kristina, so like when we are this like project idea, is it possible to create customized, project for each individual?
It is possible. So some teachers, how they act, I mean, this is the real example from the classroom. Some teachers, if they, through mathematics, they're going very difficult topic. Let's say some equations, right?
Yeah.
And then we invite every single student to their desk by their laptop and say, look, we are going through this topic, but you can integrate with something that you love, that follows your interest. Would it be like arts or music, or you want to talk about the animals? And they integrate and do individual projects for everyone. So they work during the 2 weeks time and then present to the classroom something very individual, something interesting. And through that process, we learn also everything that comes from the educational program. Okay. There are also additional settings to choose different types of lesson, or to add equipment to the lesson that kids would use, either some programming language or some instruments from laboratories or some robotics, but teachers are freely to choose it and write it down or no. And immediately we can create the lesson. And what I will get, I never know, but it will be connected to all the ingredients that I've chosen. Now I'm going to see the dish, how tasty it is. If I don't like something creatively, I just choose different computing topic, or not French, or maybe I change from geography to biology or IT or some other topics. But immediately I can review if I like it, and I can also adjust it manually. Okay, if I don't like some sentences, I can add more, or I can say that I want to describe the problem in more detail for some of the children, or I also can change the project task. I can differentiate it to the same class. I can split the class into groups. For some, give harder tasks, for some simpler, for some maybe more creative. Teachers are in control because they know the class the best, their speed, their limits, their interest, so we can easily adapt it. And since I've chosen the French topic, and maybe I will work and collaborate with a French teacher, they can easily translate it into the French because we will give material for children in French, right? So it's quickly done. It saves time. Additionally, I can add very interesting sections what we have in program coded right now. So there are quizzes, there are exercises. For teachers, it's very important to see what competencies will be built during that project. So it's all in one here. So I start from the problem statement, what children will have to solve during the project. I have the videos that immediately I can show in the classroom if I want the short ones or the longer ones. If I don't like some of the some videos, I can add more. Also, there are related movies, there are tips for teachers, competencies that I can change maybe manually if I change manually the content of a lesson, calculation exercises, gap fill exercises, and much more. So there are a lot of already material that teacher can just grab it and go into the classroom without any further preparation, I would say. And the last function that we implemented, it was asked by teachers because in every classroom we have normally in any country the kids with some special learning needs. And this means that we have to adapt to their pace, give them support. Either they have some problems to see or to read, maybe dyslexia or maybe autism. So this is the matrix that we implemented together with experts on the field that works with special learning needs in the classrooms. And we borrowed the methodology that was created in Harvard University by professors for universal learning needs. And here I can choose. If I know the child needs a support to focus, that they need maybe tasks with much more instructions, I can ask for a large support. If the same kid maybe have a dyslexia, I can have a small support to read and small to see maybe, and I can create individual adaptation for everyone so simply in the classroom. So soon I will have the same topic, the same project to do, but in a very different style that is adapted to that particular person. Okay? And then if I'm happy, I can already plan my delivery. So I can add the dates when this lesson or project will be implemented in the classroom. I can add my colleagues so we get as well the content of the lesson immediately. Just we will get an email with a link to this particular project so we can see their exercises, problem statement, and adjust it. And then I can save it into the calendar and see, how that particular class is busy, whom I can collaborate together, how I can implement it together, I can filter it. And also, what is very important for teachers, they have an individual place to create, to play, to be free, and use AI as much as they are interested in, and to create as many projects as we want. So now we have more than 30,000 lessons already created. And also, we have a very broad library because the teachers, if they like the project that they created with EditAI, they can put a heart mark on it. And this means that they are sharing with other teachers globally in the library in many different languages. So, for example, if I want something in French, I can look what Swiss or French teachers are generating. If I like the topic, I can just open it to see and then create my own copy and adjust it, translate it into English and other languages very easily, and go with a good preparation into the classroom. So this is the main functionalities what teachers are using now. And when we are visiting schools and we spend a lot of time with them, we see that the methods, how we are using EditAI, they are so different. There are more than 20, 30 different ways to do it. Some create lessons individually, some for groups, some do like interesting lessons and projects weeks, like the whole school is about interesting education the full week, and then choosing one particular topic, let's say about space travel, and they are implementing and learning and revising and doing interesting things. And then they see that the kids are very engaged, they are curious, and it leads teachers more to like um, learning more activity than only teaching. We are not anymore like only giving instructions or materials, but they are more following the child interest. When child is solving an interesting problem, let's say about the ski resorts, then immediately we raise the question, so what kind of formulas I should use to calculate how the ice is melting there or there? Or how I can understand this process from biology that we are learning. So they raise the questions themselves, and teacher become like a mentor, like a coach, like somebody who is knowledgeable and can help them and support to learn. As you mentioned before, the learning can be easy. It's not only drilling, memorizing, repeating. It can be like more trying to find the best solution to a given problem where maybe there is no one right solution like A, B, C, D. Uh, there might be many interesting solutions, and this way we grow up the generation that has the critical thinking, maybe problem solving, creativity, collaboration skills. So this way we kind of, as teachers say, we start to transform education to bring more quality education.
Thank you so much, Kristina, for the demo. It was amazing. Actually, like what I'm feeling now is that I wish I was a teacher just to use this tool. And it looked very nice. And compared to a year or like 2 years ago when I saw the first demo, the product looks just amazing. It was amazing back then, but the design is really nice. So my question is that what's your secret sauce for the design and the flow of the product? Because it really looks simple, it looks lovely. So what good you have guys been doing, with the design?
Should we already say all the recipes?
So some few ones for the other founders, how they can learn.
I would say maybe it's not how to say the accident that we came to this, but this result is rather accidental. When we see other EdTech solutions, they are either driven by IT people, someone who like really knows IT, say, I know how to change education, I would like to do this and this, okay, fantastic. But when those solutions looks bulky. And when we went to Bed Show in January, we were visiting all, 50,000 booths there, and you go there and you see this is built by IT, this is built by teacher, this is built by IT, this is built by teacher. Why? Because you can sense either the desire to fill everything possible or the desire to put very much on didactical and methodological and pedagogical side. So it's either one or the other. And there was no someone in between, which says, okay, there is something from didactical point of view, and there is a little bit what is really important from the technology. So I believe our value is that we are not either super in IT or super in pedagogy. We're somewhere in between. We know the school and we know IT. So this is why, this helped us inertially, to stay in between. The second element, I believe, is the philosophy that we do not expect every single teacher should be IT, with the heavy knowledge. I mean, people have other duties to do, working with kids. So we wanted the tool to look so simple that even our parents may use it quickly. So, while building every single click or every single window, we say, okay, how our parents would look at it. And third, I believe, which is the most important, is the teamwork. So we exchanged quite a number of ideas, on how it should look like and how it not. We fight it a lot until every single release. I mean, the next week it will be another fight. I hope it will be positive because we are almost about to release a version 6 in September. And that will be a sort of a pre-demo or pre-discussion the whole day with agreement on how it would look like, because it may change the way EditAI looks dramatically. We are moving slowly towards execution of a lesson from planning stage, and this requires a dramatic change in the system itself. The question is how it would look like, and we will have probably half a day discussion about it. What I'm glad that we are able to agree. We have certain similar vision on how it should look like in general, and we discuss rather on smaller details, not on the whole thing.
And kind of like when you're like releasing a new design or kind of new update, do you just like do it for all the schools at the same time, or do you share it, with some trusted schools first? Okay.
No. If we are developing a new functionality, then we sort of perform a small test bed feedback with them, selected teachers. We know teachers who are really keen in technology and keen in providing good feedback. They are skeptical, critical, and we trust them, so that we will be open. We will not try to please us in a way. What we do, we collect a number of teachers, maybe 5 or 10 of them, and then we provide them with the idea, how it would look like.
Perfect.
After that, when it's already a new release, we just introduce that it's a new release, and we send the video link with all the updates, and we also perform a live sessions with questions and answers for teachers who are willing to join for those live updates.
So I think kind of it will be kind of best to talk about the like selling marketing, because that's kind of the biggest, like challenge in this EdTech space. But before that, like how many schools are you having now, and how many countries are like
130 schools.
Okay.
We still hope to close additional 10 till the end of the school year. I mean, end of the school year is a bit, maybe till the 1st of September, because now it's very slow time. So 140 will be in the 1st of September. Interestingly, that we had only 20 last year in September, and in December it was 102. It grew like 5 times, So the biggest window to actually meet schools is from the middle of September in our region. Like in Australia or Mexico, it's different story. The school year is different. So the biggest window is from mid of September to reach schools, I would say till the beginning of February. And then there is planning for the exams and other stuff schools are busy with.
And how many countries are you now kind of like having the schools there?
The base is in one. The most is in Lithuania. Then we have few schools in Poland where we have just started recently. We are testing with one school in UK. We are very carefully selecting with all features, questions and answers and so on. We hope they will start in September. We have 2 schools in the Netherlands and few schools in Estonia. So currently it's 4 countries, and we have opened the conversations with Australia, Israel, and Romania about the distribution partnerships with our trusted partners there that we have met already long ago. And now we are already going to finalize the agreement, about the distribution of a product in those countries. So let's see, our international journey started just how much, like 4 months ago, so we are open as we call it, the Czech, or I don't know, what is the English word for that? Huh?
Factory.
It's a factory for actually uploading international curriculum to EditAI. Because previously it was only Lithuanian and UK. And now we have successfully updated Swiss, Poland, Estonia. We are working on France, Israel, Australia updated already, Slovenia. So we want in the end of summer to have around 20 countries fully functional and uploaded and available. You need to have a product ready for the market in order to go and to sell something. So Now we focus and we use this summertime when schools are having some rest. We are working on uploading the curricula in those countries.
Yeah. Like, what are the factors that you consider in, choosing the next country for your expansion?
Kristina, what are your factors? We may have a bit different factors, I would say, in the team. Yeah.
Well, very important aspect, I would say, to meet the right people in the market that would be well acknowledged by education community. So we have in some countries, we already had those partners in Estonia, in Poland, in Switzerland. And we are super happy when those people, we call them ambassadors, we are like cheering and we are loving EditAI and we are spreading such a nice word about it. And we are really believing in its power and transformational power of education. And through their connection is the one path that we have by checking the market. First of all, making the good, right exploration part of the market, right? Because when you do not explore, you don't know. In some countries, when we enter, through this exploration, we start to learn a lot. And what we are looking for in different markets to learn, for example, how decisions are made. Let's say if some of the markets, as Switzerland, the French part, it's very, very centralized decision. So either they like you immediately or through the time and centrally buy in a bulk a lot, or you have no chance. I mean, so it's a big decision.
But still, if they like you, then it takes like 3 to 5 years to buy.
Yeah.
So it's a number of time. Why? Because they are like truly caring about the public spending. They need to make an important decision to buy something that will be loved by teachers, that will benefit the society, that is not for 1 year procurement, that is for 5 years, and this takes time.
Yes.
But then, but kind of like somehow, don't you have the opportunity to actually go pitch this tool to private schools, not like state schools?
It is an option, but also the markets are very, very, very different, right? Because in private schools, we have, of course, the bigger budgets. Everyone is coming and knocking their door every day, right? And the teachers, they still have to teach children, they're in the classrooms. So how many tools you can see through the year? It's a bit different market. And also in general, our goal is to reach a bigger part of the schools in the world, not only private schools that are good enough already, but there are those schools that have nothing to ease their way of doing. And this is, I think, the possibility to scale, not going one by one to private, but to scale in the market.
We have visited few super expensive private schools. I mean, they probably can't afford anything, like private jets, mountain skiing, like a physical education instead, and so on. And they can afford to buy anything. And they are receiving offers from various providers like every day. So I would say if we were in shoes or in a boat with already VC money attracted, then the VC funnel will say, okay, guys, this is the list of schools in that country, how many phone calls you made, how many doors you knocked, and what is the status of their response, and you need to keep like following up. And in education, you can just really piss people off, with that kind of really,
That's
because
bravely said.
I'm sorry, because when you knock on the door, when nobody is like really inviting you, in education, you have to be invited in order to be open. And if you're pushing, nobody will ever buy you. I mean, then you will invest maybe 5 times or 10 times more efforts into sales. Like you will knock on 100 doors in order to be open. But if you go with the flow a little bit, if you connect to the right people, if you connect, for those who know someone who is willing to actually and believes in idea, maybe this is more lengthy process, but I would assume that in 5 years' time, this way will generate the same amount of revenue with just 10 times less cost in sale. Because if it's like how many phone calls you receive maybe from telco providers or maybe from some gadgets providers a week. I'm receiving maybe 2 or 3 every week. I don't know where they have my phone number. I would be interested in that or that. I said, no. And the main principle is for some people, and education is very strong, that never buy things that are offered to you, buy things that you want. So I use the same philosophy in my life. I never buy things when they are offered to me. When somebody tries to sell something, I never buy. I buy only when I figure out that I need something, when I search for the best options. And schools, as a majority, will positively invite you to their home, to the school. You will be able to present, so that will take time, maybe half a day while visiting one school. They will receive a lesson that, the technology is nice. We have actually we got to know something new. And then they will say, thank you. That's it. So the probability of visiting 100 schools, I would say, is 1, unless you're very well established in the market and you are very well known and your trademark sells for you. We are not yet there. So what we do, we are looking for like-minded people who actually believes in an idea and shares the same values, how we see education in 10 years. And if we find those people, then it's easy to talk because they know in the market the other people who thinks exactly the same way. And what we need in international sales, it's not numbers at the beginning. We need 5 to 10 schools in every market in order to learn more about the market. So say in Estonia, we need 10 schools. In Netherlands, we need 10 schools. In UK, we need 10 schools, and when you have 10 schools and you spend enough time with teachers locally, then you have a chance to grow and to learn.
Let's imagine that there is a, young guy or kind of girl that they want to, have a EdTech startup and they want to sell to schools.
Yeah.
So kind of them, without having any connections or knowledge. So what are some of ABC steps, for them to take? If make the first sales, or how should they get?
Probably, I would assume if they are about to make a startup in EdTech, I would assume they might have finished some school. This is your first customer. Because you know people, they know you, you have really an open door, and you may come to them and say, hey, I'm building this startup and this will change education globally. I need someone who will trust me and work with me together, like co-partner together. Can you be my test bed for this technology? Can you commit? Because if you want to sell something, this is not about coming to school. This is actually about teachers committing to test your product because they have 10 other offers. And the commitment from the school to start something comes with actually trust, that we trust you that you will build something, and that will be a value for us. And at the same time, for the startup, I trust you that you will commit time and give me feedback so I could grow, and learn. So I would not go for 10, hundreds different schools. I would go for 3 in your town. One where your kid is going, where you went, and your spouse also went. These 3 are your main customers in the beginning. And if they trust you, then you can grow from there.
Okay, so my next question is that how long should you wait for a school to make a sale? So kind of what's the the maximum longest period that you need to wait for the school?
I think we are still waiting for some to come in 2 years when we started 2 years ago, and we know they will come. We just need to see, market acceptance and a little bit of push from colleagues. Sometimes it really takes time. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And usually it can be half a year, can be 1 year. But the worst thing that you can do is basically to try to make it faster, like to call them every day or every Monday and ask, so what? So what? Because it takes really time. It's not like they didn't like something or they didn't want. In education, what we see, they like to take very democratic decisions. So if some teachers saw and we really love it, we want others to see. Then we want just to sit and by the coffee to discuss it and not decide, but then to tell to the maybe principal. And when the principal wants to think, grow, explore maybe other options, and then come into the decision in a half a year. wow, we're really now buying it. So now we will give it to the people who, do the administrational part. And it takes time. It's not that they are not doing the job of, the buying and decision-making process.
I would say that sales period takes from 3 to 5 years, the cycle. Yeah. In those 3 or 5 years, there are certain steps that is included. One is first step that takes around 1 to 2 years. This is that the client actually trusts you as a person. They accept you to be open as a person. If you come to education without previous educational background, you need that additional 1 to 2 years to build the trust. That is even before any sale. I mean, if they don't trust you, you will never be able to sell anything. Either you have someone in your team who is trusted, so that is 1 to 1.5 years, like the whole school cycle, sometimes 1.5. Then is another year of building a trust about technology, and that comes with different angles. You give a test demo, they can go to other school and see how they are doing about it. We see some references, we need time to think, to decide, and so on. And the third year is budgeting and actually putting the place in order, then already committing things. So 3 steps, sometimes it takes 3 years, sometimes 5. For us, it went well in the beginning because we already got the trust in the consulting projects. So we saved 1.5 years. Then we immediately onboarded the client in co-creating the product output together. That saved another maybe half a year or a year. And with those who were super excited and innovative, for them the decision to have it was already sort of in their minds already, because we were working in consulting projects about the technology. So it sort of overlapped a little bit, but it still took 2 years to the first clients.
But let me share my experience. I had a tech agency, and I was trying to sell to schools some products, and I built this personal connections. We just got very close. I got to know them, they got to know me. So, but what happened in the end, I reached a level that they asked me, hey, can you please help us to find the budget for this service? And I'm like, okay, so for this
budget.
So for me, kind of me helping them to actually find the money to pay for me. And I was like, okay, kind of, I did something wrong, or okay, so okay, my question, did I do something wrong, or kind of how this happens actually, when they ask you to help you finance this together with them, or
you did not do anything wrong. I would say that you did one assumption that was wrong in the beginning.
A big mistake.
When people are smiling and accepting you with positivity, that doesn't mean, as in regular business, that they will buy. In education, everyone tends to be officially more positive than in any other industry. I mean, if you go to the banking or to transportation, when they don't like you, they say, no, I mean, we don't need it. Or in education, they tend to shine with that, positive. It's very hard in education, in a process, to work with kids. I mean, it's one of the most difficult industries for the people to work emotionally. But then they manage to somehow communicate very positively about various things. So when you come to them and establish the relationship, whether they appreciate for that, of course they do. And they are happy for that. They demonstrate a positive sign. For you, that may be a misleading sign. So they were happy, so now I will have a sale. They have never told you they will be buying anything. They were happy you were visiting them. They were happy you shared information. They were happy you were so proactive, and so on. But they were never committing the budget. So this is a difference where you come to education, and I guess every EdTech faces the same, because they come and say, oh, the pipeline is so huge, they like us, and we will building, and we are accepting VC money. But they do not realize that this is not a commitment. People are in general just positive.
But is there a tactic to kind of uncover this and know that, okay, they're actually being nice, not committed to pay? Or how do you find out this in the beginning?
I would say you need to try with a few different models and scenarios. One is that you do yourself. Second is maybe you have another person do it, who is maybe a former teacher and so on. Third, you may do it through a distributor. The fourth, you can include your product into other product portfolio. So do not stuck on the only funnel that you do, because that is most expensive way of trying things, one and then the second. But I suggest that you try 5 different scenarios at once, and also playing with the price. Maybe the entry price is 0, and then you see how people react, and then you increase the price on the go. So I suggest the only thing that do not stuck with one option, and it will be too expensive after 2 years to realize that that was from your side that was a sales effort, but by the school that was never understood that it was a sale. That was just a kind guy visiting us, and becoming a family member, but they were not recognizing that you are selling something.
Yeah. Kristina, they have some points to add?
I just, I wanted to comment and encourage you. Sometimes there is no way to read the profile, the buyer immediately, or even if you spend them up with them, sometimes it's impossible. I don't say that it's not worth it to learn, because some can be read between the lines, as Kęstutis say, but sometimes you just will not see it. So don't push yourself too hard.
Yeah. Which is like,
it is also, a community in a school. It's not a company, as one CEO is buying for everyone. For the CEO, it's easy to buy monitors, screens, dashboards, and other stuff. But tools that actually community will be using is decided by the community. The headmaster has a chance to either block the decision, because that is against the values or some strategic elements. But at the same time, if you pitch to the community leader, the community leader needs an acceptance by the community, because he wants or she wants to do good for the community members. And then it takes time. But we faced quite many occasions with Kristina when we pitched to the community, and the community is positive. But there is one member in a community which is against, and the headmaster doesn't want to overrule, because the community culture and vibe between themselves is more important than your technology. They will not risk someone to overrule and to neglect the opinion that is not worth it in order to spoil and make a damage in a community. So they value community more than your product.
Yeah. Also, like what I noticed with some success is that like once you really build one good client in a school, then they actually kind of help you to onboard others.
Yes.
Which kind of like, I had an experience in like one of the Asian countries, and I got in contact with one college counselor, and then he connected me with all college counselors in the country. So kind of like suddenly all of them were my friends. And this was like in a very good way, not after 2 years, but this is like something that, kind of like, I think that you have to pass the debt valley just like to get kind of like to the point where you actually kind of like moving fast. So like after then you have to wait. So, and enjoy the ride. So last part of the podcast is I ask like random questions, and I would like to have short questions from you both. So fast forward 10 years, what does a classroom look like in your ideal AI-powered education future?
The classroom?
Yeah, like how it would look like in the future.
It has a teacher, definitely, but it has a super teacher. We no longer teach subjects per se, as we know, but we teach life, and kids learn subjects on the way of learning life, like understanding how everything works. The scaling could be different, meaning the teacher and student ratio could be accelerated with the technology, and probably schools will find different models on how to do it, but I would assume it's 1 to 50, 1 to 100. Because the countries will not be able to sustain the current model cost-wise, and big deficit of teachers coming to school. So that is my projection, and technology will be an enabler to do so.
Kristina?
I totally agree that this will be the smart way to do things, and I would say the most probable scenario. Also, that can come up. There is another tendency that the AI brings more productivity, efficiency, and automatization. There will be more and more people who will not have job. So maybe they will do just hobbies and, I don't know, follow their interests, write many books, create music, or they will do some, teaching, mentoring activities, because as I noticed, a lot of people see the value in it, giving back, giving for children, teaching the things that we love. So if we will have a society that is not so employed as it is now, and like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40% of us will be not working. So giving back to society through teaching as one-on-one is also another like side of the projection, but it's also possible.
Great. So let's imagine that, AI would replace our jobs. So what hobby or job will you do if AI will just like replace your job and you have like kind of
Server cleaning. We already reserved that.
That's
Pollution-free servers. We already have a name for that company, which will be engaged in.
like as kind of like two co-founders. So what do you like the most about each other?
Can we meet next year to figure out and think through? It's very unexpected. I think I can answer.
Ladies
Go ahead.
first.
What I like is the crazy, bold ideas, and they pop from Kęstutis not every day, but every minute or second. You just have to, catch them.
Okay, I like about Kristina a few things. One, that probably everybody noticed, that she knows everyone, like globally. She can connect you to anyone. That is one. And it's not like she knows, but when you go to any conference, like everybody knows her. So that is another part, How, nobody knows. She never says why, but this is. And second, when I would say we make a good team, because when one has an idea, the other is not doubting the idea, but rather supporting on how it could happen. So we have this very good match to support and build up the idea. If there is an idea, there is sort of what could be done, why, there immediately comes an idea of how it could be done. Then on how we realize and going back and forth like football, but it is always working because that supports each other. So this is another thing I like about our team, that we have this good match, in building up idea, but not like killing the idea for one another. So one thing about the person, as personality, and the other thing is about how we team up and why we make a great team.
I think that's like something that I see in kind of like winning teams, that the teams are challenging each other ideas first on like yes part, not on the no. So they say, okay, let's assume that this is yes. Okay, like we go for it. So how it is, and then kind of go with no, kind of like later on. Because if you can build yes assumptions, then you can also kind of see much broader pictures about that. So my last question is that what do you do on the weekends for fun?
What is the weekend?
For Kęstutis,
Okay, nice. You're going to Portugal, having fun.
No, I'm not sure whether it is the time or the COVID make it happen, or the EditAI, whether that is a function of how the education cycle, goes. But for me, it doesn't make so much difference whether it's Monday, Tuesday, or Friday or Saturday, that you are so tired, because I enjoy Monday, I enjoy Tuesday, I enjoy meeting people. There are difficult situations. At the same time, on Saturdays, it could be difficult. The proportion when you can spend time with different people, like with your family, with your kid, do your private stuff. So the composition is different, but this is not like, work and home. This is like life that you enjoy all the way, just different things that you do at different days. For me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So weekend is like more quality time with kids when they are not at school. We have a lot of birthday parties, like almost every Saturday and Sunday, and different activities. So I would say there are little parts with kids, little parts with a book or museum or something silent and creative, and some sports legs allowed. And I'm kidding, but I mean, then something interesting and active, would it be learning to surf or swimming or something in the nature or mountains? If it would be next to me, I would be every weekend in mountains for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah, I miss mountains. Yeah, because Afghanistan is like full of mountains, but here it's like all forest, which is also nice. But yeah, sometimes I do miss them. So thanks a lot for joining me. It was super fun to have you both here. And yeah, like all the best. And I hope to see you guys as well in person soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.